Hey, all right, I'm live. Sort of, if you haven't yet on this YouTube page that you're seeing this, there's a part one and a part two because I started with my phone and it's easier for me if I wanted to do this on and some other platform. StreamYard lets me do this. So, but they wanted 24 hours. And if I'm on my phone on YouTube, they want me to wait until I have X number of subscribers, followers, whatever. Anyway, part three of cardio, because I showed you my spinner, my cute little mix spinner, which was a whole lot less than whatever that other popular brand was that ran into issues. Me, I still got mine, and you might have noticed that the screen was missing because I took it off. I mean, that's another $40 a month if you want that, and then you could do routes and stuff like that, and it will change the tension that you're experiencing. And I bought it to do cardio. That's simply it. Because in cardio, you don't necessarily need a great amount of time, and you don't need all kinds of changes, and which would be hills and ups and downs and around corners and stuff like that. So all this changing of tensions is not really necessary unless you're going to be a bike rider. Okay, I get that. I'm not. All right. What I want to do is to be able to do 20 minutes steady state. Now, I have taken to one of the things that you might read that I've read over the years since I got my certification as a personal trainer with NASM is that VO2 max. There's two things. And it's probably debatable. Two of the things that will help with your longevity, one is your legs, okay? And cardio on something like a spinner is low impact to no impact. Cool. All right. So it's better than jumping rope in that regard. It's better than running by a long shot. And I can do 20 minutes. I pop on my headphones, I pick up Jazz Pandora station and listen away. What I have taken to doing that interrupts that is the VO2 max thing. So I've got the leg thing going already. The VO2 max is your lungs' ability to really take some, and the practice is, and I'll let you just imagine this. All right, so you're tootling along as what they call zone 2. You can get all up to zone 5, and if you don't need it, you don't need it. I don't think I do. So anyway, just tootling along. I'll go about 9-10 minutes, and then I have a minute, and I go 100%. I'm pedaling as fast as I can. I don't increase the resistance for the most part, even though I could, and that day might come. And I go for a minute and then back that off. And then at the last minute, I do another one. Now, if you are having issues with your heart and or your blood pressure, yeah, maybe talk to your doctor about that, and or do just the zone 2 for a good 6 months, 3 times a week, 20 minutes, just an hour a week, not all at once either. Just try to do 3 at 20, and get yourself in a position where you can do the 20 minutes without. And if you can't do the 20 minutes, guess what? Start where you can. If you can only do 5, do 5. And then after a while, if the 5 seems easy, go to 6 or 7. 7. Give yourself a little challenge. And if that's a challenge, that's where you stop. And then you allow yourself to adapt to that level. Okay, then you get to 10, and pretty soon you'll be at 20. Your body will make that adaptation. And you'll feel it. You'll feel it in your legs. You'll feel it in your lungs, your capabilities there. And then the other aspect is adding. So maybe you don't add a minute. So maybe halfway you just decide to go for 15 seconds. something that will get this to go faster and accordingly your respiratory rate, and then you're done. And you work yourself up to that minute. They call it the Norwegian 4x4, and I do believe that is, I thought they started with a minute, 100%, down to 5 minutes, zone 2, a minute, zone 2, a minute, zone 2. The zone 2s are all for 5 and a minute, and then zone 2. So that would be 20 minutes at zone 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 extra minutes at 100%. I'm not there, not yet. And I don't know that I necessarily need to get to the Norwegian 4x4, but it's designed for the VO2 max, developing VO2 max. And that's a measurement of your lungs' ability and your system's ability to recuperate from intense activity. And it'll be good for your weight, it'll be good for your blood pressure, so forth and so on. That's why I'm doing it. I remember when we were in Krav class, and we had what we called the class had segments. One of them was a stress drill, one was a fatigue drill. And the fatigue drill was designed to do just that thing. And that means we had a minute. I was in another class where it was a minute and a half. First time I did that, I was like, oh, that I thought the minute felt long. Anyway, the point is that we had a variety of things that we could have done. They were, honestly, I kind of miss them, and they were fun in a sense. So one of them, for example, was we had a pretty good sized dojang there because there was taekwondo classes and everything else, and there would be people by the mirrors with their mitts on, and then the other end of the room. So you were in the middle. Timer said, Dick, that was a minute. You ran down to the gloves. And then after, 5, you run to the other end of the room and you start doing push-ups while somebody else counts them out for you. The person at the other end whose mitts are hitting. 1, 2, get up, run to the other end. Run back and do the push-ups. Run to the other end. Okay, you have a minute. That doesn't sound long, does it? Well, anyway, usually at the end of those, I was, oh God, when I first started, I could hardly breathe. So I was learning how to do all kinds of breathing exercises to bring the heart rate down, bring the respiration rate down. And my friend Gary, who was in that class, would say to me, he says, the sooner you can whistle, the quicker you're recuperating. And so I do that on my bicycle now. And after a minute, it's not too bad. My heart rate doesn't go, it doubles up to 120 something, but it doesn't return in a minute anymore. And I'm still learning quite how to measure that. And if your doctor is okay with you doing that, if you don't have any reasons to not do that, if you have questions, ask. So even with my high blood pressure and stuff like that, he said, yeah, it's probably not a bad idea. He says, and he said, strangely, for a guy who is in your shape at your age, it shocks me you have high blood pressure. So, of course, he said, did your parents have it? And I said, well, it killed my mom when she was 50 something. He said, oh, there we have it. So he was cautious, but he said, okay, but if there is any problem whatsoever, you have to come back here and see me, and or no, there was no or. He says, and you will stop doing that until we can figure out a plan that works more safely for you. So I really focus on the 20. Sometimes I don't do the minute things. I can. Sometimes I don't. But I want both of them. I want longevity. I want to live as long as I can. And I didn't bring them. Wait. Here we go. Yes. I want to be as flexible as I can. Whoa, look what I got. Woo-hoo, I am crushing it now. I want flexibility. I want mobility. I want strength. I want endurance. Okay, so the endurance is helping. That's what this mix is for. That my spinner. You know, there's any number of ways to get that. I just find that that one's a little bit more. I can get between zone 2 and zone 5 relatively easy, and I can control the time. I can have my headphones on, so forth, so on. And you might be wondering, I don't know why I picked these up, but I bought 2 of these recently because I have an injury here. And I used to be able to do the Iron Cross with a 10-pound kettlebell in each hand. Yeah, well, right now, this one's got the 2 pounds, and I'm feeling it. And so how this rotate anyway, all part of what I'm trying to say here is that I'm trying to if you need to rebuild from broken, we're going to discuss that kind of stuff. We're going to move into our fitness as much as we can, as good as we can to do all those things they enumerated. So, and I'm not a kid, obviously, you can tell by my hair. So I'm not talking to you like I'm a ripped 28-year-old that's got 2% body fat. But I've had people run into me and say, wow, that's like running into a brick wall. So I know I'm in fairly decent shape. I work on that. And there are places where I can do my 15-pound kettlebells, my 20-pound kettlebells. The Iron Cross is not one of those yet. Anyway, cardio, it's a good thing to have. So if you want to, you can, LaCroixWarriorArts.com would be the place where you ask me questions. LaCroix Warrior Arts, that's LaCroix.warrior.arts@gmail.com. Maybe I should change that. And ask me questions. I'll be glad to give you answers. Don't be afraid of your doctor. Some of them might not know a whole lot, and that's okay. And I do watch guys. I don't do the luxury elite bullshit. I watch I like a guy who's either in his home gym or at least he's getting sweaty in some places by himself. But he explains what the heck's going on, and he makes some stuff simple. So, and that to me is important because it does not take a whole lot to be in shape and stay in shape. And I prefer to do it right here. Sometimes literally right behind me. I do have stuff down in the basement. My spinner's downstairs. We'll probably end up out in the garage. That's my thinking. But I'm here for you. And if you have questions, LaCroix Warrior Arts at gmail.com. Don't forget the dots between the words. And ask me a question. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions and explain to you. I mean, I got this for a reason because I know that when we get older, these things can get hurt. You know what I was doing when I injured that? I used to teach a Krav Maga class, and it was all women. And boy, it was a good class. Anyway, I decided to challenge everybody. I said, okay, let's do 10 push-ups a day. So let's start out, let's work our way up to that. And for 1 week, I said, we'll do 1 push-up a day. All right. The second week, we'll do 2 push-ups a day. Third week, we'll do 3 and so forth and so on. And I mean, I knew I was ahead of that curve. And one day, push-up number 5, there she went. I still don't know what I did to it. The x-ray turned out to be a negative. I'm waiting on the doctor for an MRI. And right now I can do certain things with it, certain things I can't. So that means I need to go back to light weights. You got to do what you got to do. You got to make the adaptation. And if that's all you got, that's all you got. You know, if you haven't ever lifted weights in your life, this is where you want to start. Small weights. So like if I wouldn't even ask you to do a Turkish get up with a weight in your hand. I am back to that place. I tried some with the 10 pounders the other day. No, my form sucked. It'll work every muscle in your body. And I used to be able to do quite a few of those. It's disappointing, but I get it. Injuries will do that kind of thing. And that one requires holding a weight above your head while you get up off the ground. Yeah. Anyway, excuse me. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, hang out. Share it with somebody. But in any event, if you have questions, LaCroix, spelled there, Warrior Arts, lacroix.warrior.arts@gmail.com. Ask your questions. Be more than happy to answer you. I might bring over my own Vanna White sometimes when I create videos, so I can show you how these forms work and what because part of this library back over here is about that. I got a book on yoga, so what muscles all of those moves are exercising, stretching, what that's doing, and the fact that when you get into a stretch, so let's take this one because I can do this one like here, and then we want to turn a little bit to make that a rotation. Instead of just holding it here, that little bounce actually sends a signal to the brain. It's quite fascinating. And I know GMB Fitness has a program, and so they have a minute. You do certain things for a minute. Squeeze your hands and like this. Squeeze your hands, and you notice something here? It's a constant motion, reversing. But they're split lunge, squat. Forget the words. It's a lunge, but it's a stretch. And so that one leg's out in front, and for a minute, you don't ever stop holding it. You just keep moving into it. So it's constantly moving that muscle at the top of your quadriceps, all of those muscles in that area. So there's some good reason for this. And there's a woman I listen to in Texas, and she's been saying the same thing of late. So I'm catching on to these dots that are connecting. And when I finally get more information on that, what that brain thing connection is actually doing and saying to your body, I'll share that. But those are the kind of things that I look for. Not that we can be Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll never be that. I want you to be, if you want endurance like I do, and flexibility like I do, and mobility like I do, and some strength like I have, okay, cool. You're in the right place. Anyway, I'll let you go. I will talk to you later. Bye.